James Harden is insane. I gotta be real with you. I woke up this morning. I had a podcast. I'm still gonna drop it today, probably at 11 or a later time. I'm not sure what's gonna happen. James Harden is insane. What this man just did is in China, overseas, at 7 a.m. Shams had a tweet about James Harden coming out and saying to the media in China, DARYL Morey is a liar. I will not be a part of any organization that he is attached to. I repeat, DARYL Morey is a liar. He literally took the time in the video to repeat to the audience in China that DARYL Morey is a liar. And it's kind of crazy considering DARYL's history with what was going on overseas with China and all this. I'm not going to get into that, but it's very strategic from Harden to do that. But on top of things, this is such a big thing for the 76ers. And I had a podcast that I've already recorded with Derek, who we talked about his team, the Sixers, and the ins and outs and how good they're going to be or not. This literally is holding the 76ers at gunpoint. This is the loudest you can be about wanting out. The fact that you're literally making this public, where Shams is tweeting you, Woj is tweeting you, and you're saying this in China of all places, this is just insanity. I haven't seen a player really push to not be somewhere like this in quite some time. The Ben Simmons thing was one thing, right? But this is just a whole other level, and seeing what this evolves to is crazy, because now his value was already low, guys. I mean, teams were not trying to give up much value for James Harden. The LA Clippers didn't even want to give up freaking Terrence Mann for James Harden. So seeing where things are after this is going to be very, very intriguing. I was not ready for this, okay? I was going to go to work. I worked hard. Appreciate all the support on the channel. I had work. I was going to go in to work, do this and do that. But this harder stuff came right as soon as I was about to leave the door. So I'm actually running out of time. But I just got to get my thoughts out on this before I work this 10-hour shift. James Harden is crazy. It's crazy what we're seeing. I'm not sure how Harden is going to get his way if they're going to fold. Because the number one thing you have to ask yourself after this is, okay, well, now that this is happening, what does this mean for Joel Embiid? Right? The writing has been on the wall in terms of how disappointed Joel Embiid has been, and also what he's had to put up with for the 76ers. I think his career start has been very, very unlucky considering all of the misfortunes he's had to deal with the front office, with the players, and things of that nature. And this all stems from a decision that the front office made. I'm sorry. But if we're operating under the assumption that James Harden was promised a max extension from this franchise, from DARYL Morey, and then they pull it in the year where the new CBA is active and the trade market for James Harden is not going to be that great, then I can 100% understand James Harden committing to this road where he's trying to force his way out of Philadelphia. Now, would you max James Harden with his age and his talent? That's another conversation. I don't think Philadelphia should have maxed him. But if they're literally promising him 8 months before, where James Harden still has a really good all-star season, arguably all-NBA caliber in any other season, even though there were a lot of good candidates, that is you literally hamstringing your own situation. If you are making an on-paper promise, which even if it's not a legal bearing document, the point is that in the age of player empowerment, with all these players asking out with multiple years on their deal, you honoring your word as a franchise matters more than it ever has. And the fact that they might have said, yes, we're going to pay you, and they hard pivot from doing that, this is really bad. Especially with the way Harden is handling things, his value might go down tremendously, and there might be some stipulations he can do to get out of the legal ramifications from the league. I'm pretty sure there's a clause stating that if you don't play the year of your expiring contract, it could impact your upcoming free agency. I forget how that exactly works, but ultimately there's probably some type of workaround from the NBA PA that Harden can do to still get his money and not play for Philadelphia. This really puts them in the lion's den. What are they going to do? Are they going to call this bluff? Are they going to say, Harden, show us, prove us that this is going to happen? Or are they going to fold and trade him before training camp? This is crazy. We're not even like a full month before the season is going to start. We're literally in August, people. August just started, and we're in this situation with James Harden. So I just can't. It's hard for me to process. I just got off the phone with Derek and we talked about it for like 2 hours about like James Harden, Joel Embiid, and the roadmap to like success, and how he said he wanted Halliburton. We can't have revisionist history, right? The James Harden era, before that started, we have to remember what James Harden was, right? James Harden was Ben Simmons. This team had an epic playoff failure. Ben Simmons asks out, Daryl Morey holds out, doesn't do anything, does the smart thing, waits, and he's able to trade Ben Simmons for sure. Not a prime James Harden, but James Harden nonetheless, who was a much better player than Ben Simmons was, for success at a trade deadline. So I don't think you can go back and say that the trade that they made to get James Harden in the first place was a failure. But in terms of the operation of the roster construction and where things are moving forward, this is looking so bad in light for Philadelphia. If, again, this is all assumption, if they 100% offer James Harden that deal. And what makes me want to lean towards that assumption being correct is James Harden demonstrably talking about Daryl Morey in this way. We have not seen James Harden operate like this pretty much ever. I haven't seen James Harden be this outspoken about anything in the NBA, and to come to this level where you are overseas, not even in the US, Team USA literally just played yesterday, and you're overseas in China talking about, I will not be a part of an organization that Daryl Morey is attached to. This is just an insane thing to happen at not late night. This is literally in the morning, 7 a.m. I'm a working man, y'all. I work 10-hour shifts every day. I do this content grind stuff at the same time. And me seeing this right before I'm going to work is crazy. It's really crazy. Let me know in the comments what you think about the James Harden era, how things went. What does this mean for Joel Embiid? What does this mean for James Harden's future? Because the next thing is obviously the Clippers, right? The Clippers have been a team that have been attached to James Harden. And like I said earlier, they don't want to give up great assets for James Harden in a year where they have Kawhi Leonard and also Paul George coming off of their books. They're going to be on expiring contracts. They have their own big decision to make with the extensions that they have to offer to these two guys. And they were linked to Harden. And now it's like, do you really want to give up crazy assets for Harden, considering his behavior in this, but also considering you might not have to? Based on the pressure he's applying to Philadelphia, his value becomes lower than it's ever been. Ever. So it's like, it's really insane to think about. And again, like, for the Sixers, the future of the Sixers is in flux. I was already saying this in the podcast that I did with Derek and also Chris from Hoop Spaces, by the way, another Philadelphia 76ers fan. We literally discussed all of this. And then the day after we record the podcast, the literal day after, James Harden is doubling down on his trade request from Daryl Morey, explicitly saying it. It was, man, I just can't believe what I've seen so far in this morning. And by the way, this is what makes the NBA great, okay? The drama, okay? We can like sit up here and lie and say like, oh, we just want to see the basketball is all. But the headlines, the rumor mills, the trade stuff, that is what accelerates it, because it emphasizes the on-court product more. Wins and losses mean a lot more when you realize, shit, maybe if James Harden and Joel Embiid executed in Game 6 down the stretch and go to a conference finals, maybe Harden's getting paid, right? Maybe Harden isn't asking out from Philadelphia, right? Maybe they're like, you know what? We had success. We made it to a conference finals. Shoot, maybe we even go to the finals based off the context of things and we win. Right, like maybe the future of the Sixers looks completely different, but based off a literal 4 to 5 minute stretch in Game 6 at the end of the game that they fold and ultimately lose Game 7 in embarrassing fashion to the Celtics, that could monumentally swing the future of the franchise that is the 76ers. Like, that's what happens in the NBA. So, crazy news. Still gonna drop my podcast with the Lakers, because I had that planned with my guy Rome, so that's still gonna drop on this channel. Make sure to tap in for that. But yeah, man, we're here. This is crazy. I'll catch you guys. Love the support. Almost at 1.2 thousand subscribers. I appreciate that. I'm gonna head out. Go tap into the Gifted Hoops podcast. It's out right now on Spotify. I also have links to it in the description as well. Peace out, people. Have a good one.